On 22nd of October 2023, I was sitting in my triple sharing hostel room with an injured leg. In that week, I was all alone because we had a midterm break, so my roommates had left for home. So, with my back resting against the wall, with a laptop in my hand, I was scrolling through Instagram and YouTube like any other day. During that time, I used to watch a lot of entrepreneurial content, especially from Patrick David and Alex Hormozi. But I didn't know at that point that you should create more than what you consume, which now I am creating. But during that time, I used to watch a lot of their content, hours and hours upon videos, even if they didn't really help me at that point. Like I would watch videos about things that did not even were not even in the picture for the next 5 years, and like I would still watch that. But for me, entertainment in at that point was mostly speed runs or just challenge runs of games, and especially of Elden Ring. Now, if you have played Elden Ring, you know it is one of the best games of all time. It was 2022 Game of the Year and many more accolades to its name. I have played it myself. I have even get the ALC, even though I didn't finish it. But at that time, I was more into the challenge runs and speed runs category. So unknowingly, or you could say just randomly, an edit popped up in my feed, which was a Reddit edit by Protomatic, if you know that person. So I watched that edit. Obviously, it gave me chills with all those cool transitions, with those shades, with that flickering light and those flashes and all. And that really inspired me. So I was like, hmm, let's make it ourselves. Let's make an edit. And at that point, I didn't even know what editing was, what all these softwares were like DaVinci, Wondershare Filmora, Adobe, CapCut. I didn't know anything. So I just searched like editing software or video editing software, and the first one that popped, I think, was Filmora. Downloaded Filmora, downloaded the clips of Elden Ring, I chose my song, which was Memory Reboot, and after a couple hours, my edit was basically done. And it was extremely basic. There was no script, there was no text, there was a storyline because it was memory rehoot. So I understood the dynamic of the song and created an edit based on the entire experience or entire journey of a tarnished Elden Ring. If you have played, you'll understand what I mean. So that was basically my first edit. I wouldn't even call it an edit. It was just taking a bunch of clips and just stitching them together on a timeline. That's what it was. But I was like, should we post this on Instagram? Because at that point, I was such a introverted person, which I am even now, but and I'll rather put it on the story. So I put it on my story and I gained a good amount of appreciation for it. As you remember, I believe it was like 15, 20 likes, something like that. But what appreciation does to you, like if you zoom out for a moment and think over it more broadly. Now, 2 years later, I know what happened at that time. I know that, okay, this was the reason that the entire story unfolded the way it did. But at that point, you are like dopamine takes over. Right? Dopamine, like feel good hormone, well, made me feel good that damn, I'm getting appreciation, I'm getting recognition. So I was like, let's edit more. Let's make an edit on something else. I mostly edited in the AMV niche, if you know that anime music video, anime edits based. Reason being because it was pretty easy to understand the context, even if I have not watched the anime, and the clips are very easily found. So it was very convenient to make edits on anime. For the first 1 month, I edited on DaVinci. And this video is not going to be about how I learned this skill or not. In the future, I'll make video on how I learned editing to the level I did. But this video is going to be about more of the story or like how things unfolded. So for the first month, I edited on DaVinci. Then I shifted to Adobe. And if you know Adobe, you know that the learning curve is a bit steep. And at that point, mostly use Premiere because I didn't really know how to use After Effects. It was too complicated for me at that. But day after day, I would just spend hours on just editing. I would watch a lot of tutorials and just try and replicate some things that I liked on Instagram, that I watched on Instagram. I'm like, yeah, that's an edit, right? So I just search them on YouTube, find the tutorial, try and make it myself, and just post it. I didn't really have a plan in mind of why I wanted to do what I'm doing. I just had fun, and I was just having fun. Like it was a hobby for me, right? So months passed by, I improved a lot, and I would post every 3 to 4 days, so basically twice a week. The thing about learning a skill is that it has a particular way in which the things unfold. That you start with a lot of excitement, and then you reach your peak excitement. After that, the real difficulties start when you have when the excitement, like the initial craze of it, has gone. The real difficulties start unraveling themselves, right? So your kind of curve goes down, and then you reach a kind of bottom. You reach a very low point in your learning where it becomes the toughest and where most people leave. But if you sustain during this low point, well, there's a very big upward trend. And then obviously then it repeats. So like at that point, the initial craze, the peak had wore off. I was going downhill. I used to watch countless hours of just tutorials on YouTube, just trying to find ways in which I could make the type of edits I wanted to make. And the good thing about my mentality was that once I attached my heart to something, I really gave a lot of effort, like more than what most people would do. Like my work ethic really skyrockets. But again, just finding my heart at things in the first place was hard. So second semester passed by. I collabed with a voice artist, I would say. That was my first 1,000 likes after probably 50 or 60 edits. That was my first edit that went rather viral. So that really gave me a boost. And during the summer break, which was May to July, I edited more and more and more. But when I came back in my third semester, I was like, I've rarely gone viral. I have, like, at that point, I had gone viral only once. And apart from that, the views mostly were in the thousands and the likes were in like the 50s to 80s, which was a bit saddening, because at that point I had at least 90 posts or 90 edits posted. So in my third semester, I had two more reels that went viral. But again, that didn't really give me the feel that I can actually do this and take it to another level, because I was not really gaining followers by any means. I was not gaining loyal people who would continue watching me. And to the point, now again, as I said, let's zoom out and think about it, the mistakes I made. Mistakes I made were that I didn't have a unique style. Think about creative work, in this case, editing, and some other case it could be designing or I don't know, some any other thing, right? The thing about creative work is you have to be unique enough for people to continue watching you or listening to you or seeing your content. We live in an attention economy. Everybody that you see on the internet is trying to take attention away from you. I'm doing the same with you right now. During the time, I didn't really realize why I was not doing that well. So with time, I stopped editing as much. My frequency dropped to like an edit every 10 days, so it's like only 3 edits a month. And by my 115th post, I had basically given up. And I'll be honest, I had given up. Okay, like at that point, frequency dropped to 1 edit a month, and that was mostly when a major event happened in my life. Apart from that, I didn't edit for just the sake of it or for the fun of it, because I was not having fun. But looking back 6 months, I believe that everybody goes through this phase of life where they are confused. They don't have clarity. They don't know what to do. And whatever they are doing, they are not really getting a lot of results. Maybe if I continued on that path, maybe I could have found gold. Maybe I also stopped digging just at the moment where I was about to find gold. But now that I have changed my genre, or now that I've changed my goals, and I have more clarity than I ever had. I know what I want to do. This is what I want to do. I want to create my own personal brand. And the skill that I learned editing is not going to waste, because obviously I'll be editing this video. You are seeing an edited version, you are seeing a color graded version, you are seeing a version with very clear voice. Anytime I want to start anything. But now, even though I know a lot, I'm trying to keep things simple, and I'm trying to give more value to you guys. So that was how I learned my first skill. Obviously, it was again an overview, it was not an in-depth video. Right now, I am not going that in depth into analyzing or just thinking about, oh, this happened and that happened. I believe right now it is more on how things unraveled in my life and what I learned from them, so that you guys can learn from my mistakes or even my successes. So, and if you ever want to learn a skill, I would give you a rather basic framework, which is the value of this video. The framework is: start, you will reach a level, as I said, you will reach a level where you will have highest excitement, highest thrill. But then when things get difficult, that is where you have to stick, because it will just get worse. Then you'll reach a lowest point where nothing is working. Now, if you feel worth it, that whatever you're doing, it's worth it, then I would say continue. But lot of businesses, a lot of products, a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs, they just keep hammering at things that have a very low chance of working. And even if they work, they might not be as successful. But that attachment that you have with whatever you are doing or whatever you're creating, in my case, which was creating content in a different niche, that attachment keeps you going, and sometimes it blinds you, right? So a lot of entrepreneurs say fail fast and pivot, which I did not do. I stuck to the same niche, and it in the end it just did not work. And now that I'm changing my niche, I know this is going to work because I have clarity now. So that's what I'm going to say, that if you feel that it's worth it, continue. If you feel that maybe you would do better, then don't. Pick something new, fail fast and pivot. But again, this is just advice. In the end, you make the calls. If you have a similar story, or if you have a story of yourself learning a skill, let me know. If you want to share your thoughts on this video, feel free to comment. I would love to discuss with you guys and understand your perspective and understand your story. My name is Pajul Kawar. I'm creating my personal brand, and in 50 days, I've challenged myself to make 50 videos. Signing up.